Hey YouTube, today I welcome you to my messy, unfinished basement that's sort of like my laboratory in a way. I mean, it's my home theater set up here. I've got all my VHS and Laserdisc and stuff like that set up, but this is where I usually end up playing around with different things that I get, different AV equipment. But anyway, so the video here today is I wanted to talk a little bit more in depth about something new I've been playing with, which is this CRT projector. CRT projector is something that I have been, interested in for a while, but I never was able to get my hands on one. I wasn't there weren't any that came up for sale locally or anything like that. I did do some playing around with rear projection TVs, and I got them pretty good. The picture was never that fantastic, but it was fun to experiment with and everything. So but I just kind of regarded CRT projection as, this is like sort of the big deal, back, early 2000s and older than that. This was big money, rich person home theater projection, like a lot of these units, I think this one was around $18,000. I am not missing the cover. The cover is actually right here. I just have it off because, as you'll find out, if you have a CRT projector, you need to make certain physical changes and adjustments when you first get it set up. So you can, of course, set one of these like in this orientation, like on a stand or something like this. So mine's a little janky, but it's working at the moment. Or of course you can hang it from the ceiling, which is preferable. Then things can't move on you. So I just wanted to tell you a couple of the things that I learned in playing with this, and what I had to do to kind of get it going. So a lot of people but a lot of people say things about like how difficult these are to get going and the maintenance and everything like that. And yes, it is something for a more technical person, but it's nothing that I don't think you can't handle with a little bit of information. So you can get these when they do come up. They seem to be pretty reasonably priced because, people are trying to get rid of them and everything. I was fortunate enough in my case to get this free. They were going to send it to the Eco Station. And like I said, this thing was like $18,000. It had very few hours on it. It came in its original box. And score, awesome. Then I could have something to play with, right? The only thing I really had to invest in is I had to buy myself a screen. I bought myself this 110-inch projector screen, and away I go. And of course I had to buy some cables too. I got some kind of special cables going on here. Now this guy will just take component in, which I already had component cables, so that wasn't a big deal. But the kind of playing around experimentation and stuff I wanted to do, I just got various, cables, which I'll tell you about. But anyway, so the first thing you got to do with one of these projectors, at least with mine, was you need to determine the screen size you're going to be using, okay? Because there's different adjustments depending on that. So there's 3 different ranges for mine, and mine happened to fall in the middle size range. Me having the 110-inch screen, it happened to fall in the middle. So what I had to do first is, and I'm going to butcher this, but there's a Schimpflug, I think that's how you pronounce it, adjustment for, it's like a lens rotation to help with the focus on the outer boundaries. So what I had to do is, you see each one of these lenses has 4 adjustment, they're like plastic adjustment screws around them. You have to loosen these up, and then you loosen them up but keep them in here enough that you're able to slide this back a little bit, and then there's a little adjustment here, and you'll see that there's the 3 different ranges. It'll say this, or this kind of thing. And in my case, I had to pull this out and select it to the middle position. And I had to do this with all 3 of the lenses, 1, 2, 3. And then once you set it into your position, then you can screw that back in place, okay? And then sort of the next physical thing is actually aligning the guns with each other. So the green stays put. It's the one in the middle. It's sort of like the primary color. And there is an on-screen menu that it's the installation on-screen menu. I can actually show it to you afterwards, but it basically goes to a point. It's like, okay, I'll align the red gun, and it shows a green square with like a crosshatch, and then you can loosen up these two screws here, and then that allows this to move left and right. You're not adjusting up and down, just left and right. And then you can bring this in to line up with this guy, and then the squares match. Okay, and then same thing over here with blue. You can bring this guy in to match with this, and then you have it all like mechanically in line. Of course, you can do the software adjustments, left, right, up, down, whatever, and the convergence and geometry and all that stuff. But this is the physical stuff that needs to be done first. So you're bringing it roughly into where it needs to be first, okay? And then next, you need to focus them, okay? And like, if you move this thing, you're going to throw it out of focus, right? So once it is where it is, or where it's going to be, then you can focus it. And so the main focus, the focus is sort of like most of the picture in the center. You can unscrew this little wing nut here, and you can rotate this whole cannon here. You can rotate this whole thing, and you'll be able to see on screen, oh, the red's into focus. And then, oh, the green's into focus. Oh, the blue's into focus. And then there's an outer adjustment here. You can loosen this up, and then this is for the edge of the screen. So when you're looking at your crosshatch pattern, you can bring the focus in. This one, this one. So you get them all lined up, you get them all focused, and that is it for that. In addition to that, there is an electrical focusing adjustment that you can do for the red, green, and blue here. You can put your screwdriver in there and make a little adjustment. Whoop, whoop, bring it in, and you'll get that dialed right in. And once you get this nice and dialed in like that, then you are good. The only other thing that was with this projector, I don't have this unscrewed right now, but if you loosen these two screws here, this whole thing will hinge upwards. And then there are 9 connectors inside on the board that need to be pulled out, rotated, and plugged back in. And that will change whether you have a floor mounted and rear projection, or sorry, floor mounted and front projection, or ceiling mounted front projection, or rear projection with ceiling or floor mount. So whichever your orientation that you're going to be installing this, you need to set that. So let's take a look at the back here. So we've got some communication RS-232 in and out, and then there's another kind of COM port on here. And then with this guy, it actually has a built-in scaler and everything, so it's not just direct RGB like some of these are. You can feed it just regular component from like a Blu-ray player, game console, whatever. In my case, I'm using this cable which has RGB and then horizontal and vertical sync. And then this one has S-Video. Okay, and it has composite video. Composite video. So a whole bunch of different choices for input, which is wonderful. And then, yeah. So what I'm doing in my case, I wanted to use HDMI, specifically using just like a Fire TV stick, for example. So what I did was I got a, what did I end up getting here? Right here. So this is a HDMI to VGA adapter. And then I have a separate adapter, a VGA, that goes to these BNC RGB connections like that. And then that's basically, that works great for getting your HDMI. I also have this Blu-ray player, which I can feed directly a component, and that works great too. This being an HD projector, it will do 720p and 1080i. I've found that I needed to use 720p a lot of the time. 1080i wasn't really an advantage. If you try to do 1080p, it does a weird split screen kind of a thing. I'm still figuring out all the different like combinations of resolutions and refresh rates and stuff. I did have this hooked up directly VGA to an old computer, and played a game on there and stuff. But I had to do 1280 by 720, and then it was wonderful. 75 hertz, nice and smooth, looks great. So let's just, we'll turn this on. It's just a standby button. You'll hear it kind of kick on there. You hear that crackling sound that CRTs make when they turn on. Here we go. All right, and right now we got a whole lot of nothing. Actually, I think what I've got here is, oh, there we go. There's our remote. So the Fire Stick should be on and ready to go here, and it is. So there you go. That is beautiful CRT projection. It's mostly dialed in. I've got a little bit of convergence out in some places, you know. Let's get closer to the screen. See, like for example, you'll have this red and this blue's a little bit out in this spot in particular, right? It's pretty good in the middle here. And then, you know, same thing here. What you really need to do is get the remote. I don't have the remote for this projector. If I could stand right up beside the screen, I could really get the convergence dialed in nicely. My problem is my glasses. I have thick glasses and a strong astigmatism, so it makes it hard to see the convergence because my glasses will actually throw blue and red on the side of things too and make it look like the convergence is good or it's out. But yeah, anyway, blah, blah, blah. So there it is. That's HD. Very nice. Beautiful black levels. Absolutely no screen door effect here. You look nice and close. Look. If this was an LCD projector or a DLP or something like that, and this was a 720 image, I mean, you'd see all the pixels, right? Even a 4K one, you'd see the pixels. So it's really nice. It's really nice when you're actually watching like a film. It's very film-like. It looks very good that way. So let's just take a look at the menu quickly and see what there is to see. So this is your, you can go here, you can go source selection. There's all your inputs. RGB, S-video, video, component video, RGB tri-level, component tri-level. I found out that these RGB tri-level and component tri-level are video inputs that you use for high definition content. So yeah, that's, if you're just doing like, you know, 480p, you know, component, like if you're watching a DVD or something like that, you can stick with the regular component here. But if you're going higher than that, then you should use these. This projector is pretty forgiving with the signals. It actually recognizes quite a bit. You can use a couple of different inputs and it seems to work fine without screwing it up. Let's just get into, let's see, we'll exit out of here. So this projector in particular has an automatic convergence, and it has a little camera on it. It's kind of too dark to see on the projector itself because it's dark in here, but there's a little camera and it will do auto convergence. I never had this be really successful. It's kind of finicky and it hasn't really worked for me, so no problem. I go in and do this stuff manually, but that's what this IQ is. So if I go into adjustment mode, there's guided, and it'll bring you through the whole process of all the different things you should set up and adjust and everything like that. I usually will go into random access, and then you can select the source, which means whatever you're looking at right now. So I'm looking at the Fire TV screen. It'll use that as the picture to make your adjustments, or you can use a geolock pattern, which is that. And there's your convergence and geometry adjustment. See, I have it pretty decent. Not too bad, not too bad. Pat on the back. But, you know, it can always be better. You know, for example, to me, standing back there, it looked perfect. But look at, It ain't. It can still be tweaked. All right. So I really need to get myself a remote so I can get in close to the screen and see what's going on. But you know, you got various look at picture tuning. You can change the color balance. You can manually adjust the color balance. You can change the sync. So this is just with RGB sources. There's a built-in line doubler that would normally be showing on things like component sources or composite or S-video. You can turn the line doubler on and off. Peaking adjustment. This is your geometry. Very many different adjustments in the geometry, so you can get it just right. Convergence, you know, of course, red on green, blue on green. Everything references to green. Green is the primary color of this, the primary driver. It stays put. You converge everything to green, basically. So, oh, I went like an idiot. I went and shut the projector off, but I'll turn it back on here. Boots up pretty quickly. It really only takes a few seconds and then it comes back. There we go. So get back into where we were. Random access, pattern, all your convergence. Yeah, so there's all your fine adjustments. So for example, we could do a red on white here. So you pick the spot on the screen, say I want to select there. Now you can move your arrow left, right, up, down. Let's take a little closer look here. Well, looks like the red could come in a little bit more. Let's bump it a little bit. Okay, let's take a little look here. Oh, look, see, it's still out a little bit. It's just really hard for me to see back here. Okay, let's see. Oh, beautiful. Okay, for this line anyway. And then we want to bring blue in on that. So you can exit out of here. You can go blue on white, same area. Go here, make a little adjustment here. See if we can get that blue to come in a little bit. Oh, went too far. Anyway, so you could spend a lot of time playing around tweaking. So if you like to fiddle like I do, if you like to tinker, I should say, with something, this is a good device to have, because you can really play around with it, you know. So let's go to the installation here. So I was telling you about this. This is your first time installation. It's asking you, okay, what's your picture range here? I don't have the remote. I haven't been able to change anything on this screen, so I feel like I might be missing out on a setting here, but there's nothing I can do. We'll go enter. All right. So here's that Schimpflug adjustment. So I'm set to the right position physically, so I could bypass the screen. Optical lens focusing. So this is the green. So when I was talking about focusing the colors, the color guns earlier, this is what you can use as a reference to focus your green. You focus your center and then you focus your edge, get it in there nice. Goes on to the red, goes on to the blue. Now raster centering. This is interesting. So raster centering is actually looking in. You go ahead and you poke your head into here and you look right inside. Whoa, try to get in there. And you want to get that raster image centered inside the CRT, right? So there's a little adjustment left, right, up, down, and you get that raster centered for each of the colors. There's green, red, blue. You can't even see them on camera. And then, yeah, so move on to this, the projection angle adjustment. Remember I was telling you about, see, mine's a little off here. And what happened was I moved my projector. I lifted it up a bit. It was too low. So that threw this adjustment out. But it's okay that it's out because I was able to software adjust the convergence. See, you want that to be lined up. And you can physically line that up by unscrewing and moving the gun. So that's for the red. That's for the blue. Blue's actually good. It's just low for some reason. I don't know why. I've been able to adjust the lenses physically up and down, so just haven't got there. And there, that's the installation. And let's go back to here. Of course, you have contrast and brightness adjustments that you can do. Now you want to be really careful because brightness and contrast, as you increase these, you're going to decrease the life of your tubes, especially contrast. Contrast you want to keep, I was told somewhere in the 60 to 70 kind of range. I've got mine a little higher because I want a little more pop, knowing full well that I'm driving the tubes harder. What contrast adjusts is the current of the tubes, the current going to the tubes. So that's why that's more, say, damaging, more wearing on it than the brightness. The brightness is like the voltage, but the contrast is the current, as I understand it. And that's just harder on it overall. Now, these tubes are supposed to last 10,000 hours-ish. And, you know, this one's got about 4,000 on it. So I kind of got it. I got it kind of halfway through its lifespan kind of thing. I don't intend to put a lot of hours on it though, and even if I sell this on to the next person, they probably won't either. It's just fun, you know, like I still have a TV behind my screen, a big TV, so I can watch, you know, the 4K HDR content and stuff, but this is fun to whip out for movies and stuff. So I think that's pretty good coverage for right now. I mean, I can show you, it's hard to show you an example of, like, you know, what it looks like. You have to be here. If I just put whatever YouTube video on, that's what it looks like, okay? Pretty damn nice. It looks really good, to be honest with you. Now, expect it to be a soft image. It is a soft image. And I mean, like, it's not sharply focused like a new projector would be. So you have to let that go. You really have to let that go. But what you can enjoy from this is no screen door effect, absolutely no, like, lag or what would you call it, like smearing or anything like that. It's just instant. It's ready to go. It's CRT technology. And the contrast is amazing. If something's supposed to be black, it's black. I mean, as black as your room will allow it in your screen, right? Like, I had LCD projector before. I had a DLP projector. Actually, the DLP did a really good job. The LCD projectors, man, there was always a light bleed to it, and it drove me crazy. Like, drove me absolutely crazy. I had to get a darker screen just to compensate, and it still didn't do it for me. Same thing with my TV behind this. I have like a new LG 4K TV, and, you know, it's not an OLED like the one upstairs. The blacks on it in darkness piss me off because it I can see that the black is like a purpley blue kind of color, kind of bleeding through instead of just not being turned on. With the CRT, that area of the screen, if it's supposed to be black, it's not turned on. So when you're watching space movies and dark movies and stuff like that, it just is dark where it's supposed to be dark. Whereas on the TV down here, it's annoying. So anyway, that is sort of my little spiel on this projector, at least for now. And if I come up with any more to say, I will make another video on it. But, you know, I found this fascinating, you know, very interesting, you know, and I was expecting these to be loud too, but liquid cooled lenses, there's only 2 fans in here. It's pretty quiet, you know, especially when you're watching a movie and that's loud and stuff. There's no way you're going to hear it. It's no problem at all. I would like to get it mounted to the ceiling more properly. You know, I was playing around. I didn't even know if this thing worked or if I could get it to a satisfactory picture or whatever. But now that I know it does, then I can give it a more permanent home, you know, hanging it from the ceiling. This one weighs approximately 100 pounds. So you definitely need another person to help you with it. But yeah, hopefully you got something out of my video. Learned a little bit about CRT projection, and yeah, just comment below if you have any other suggestions or questions or whatever, I can make a follow-up video on this. There's not that many people that I see running them, not much information online anymore, not a lot of YouTube videos. Like, that's why I wanted to make this and try to help somebody else out that's in the same boat that gets one of these or is thinking about getting one of these. And yeah. All right, so thanks for watching. Bye.